Hello, my name is Brandon Wood. Today I'm going to be talking about my Tikkun Olam report for the GitHub pull request user experience. So a little bit about me. I'm a senior software developer for Liberty Mutual, and my company recently moved from Bitbucket to GitHub for our source code management. My team's kind of generally dissatisfied with how the GitHub pull request experience works. It's opinionated in a kind of what I would say is a strange way. It's very different than how we do work, makes it hard to do work. I kind of want to make it better. So what are the problems they're trying to solve here? There's basically two I want to cover today. That's the process of leaving a comment and the process of approving a pull request. So what does leaving a comment look like today? So if you want to leave a comment on a line of code, what you'd have to do is go to that line of code, and then right next to the line number, you'd have to hover there until a plus icon appears. You click that plus icon and a drop down will appear after that. You can type out your comment right here, and then you're given multiple different ways you can actually submit your comment. And I think just reading these, it's not really clear what the difference between these two different submissions are. In GitHub, what you'll do is if you hit start a review, it'll leave your comment, but it won't notify anybody you've left a comment, not until you've actually submit your changes, your review changes. So most of the time, I think people actually want is add single comment, but since start a review is green, I think most people click that, and then early on, my team would only click the start a review and be like, "Hey, did you see my comment?" And like, "No, I didn't see your comment. I never got notified about it." It wasn't really clear to us that you actually want add a single comment 90% of the time, I think, because that would leave a comment, notify the users, "Hey, look at my comment." So my improved commenting UX. Firstly, you can click anywhere on the line, not the line number. Instead, you, you can click on there and it will highlight the line a slightly different color so it's easy to see that you have the right line selected because I've seen multiple reviews of people comment on the wrong line simply because it's hard to tell. In GitHub, the color of line does not change. And then I also wanted to make it so that the options were simpler. Ignore this make suggestion button. I think just having the submit comment button in green, it'll just submit your comment and that'll be it. It'll drop a comment right there, which could be useful if you want to explain some obtuse code or something, or just add some additional context. But it wouldn't explicitly notify users. If you want to explicitly notify the reviewers, what you'd have to do is check this little box here, which is optional, and it will send an email to them saying, "Hey, look at my comment basically and give feedback." So the other issue I want to tackle today was the approving a pull request. So today, when you want to approve a pull request, you can only do so from this Files Change tab. Um, and since if you're like 50 messages deep in a conversation, or if you're way down in the checks logs, but you see, hey, it passed, um, you have to go all the way to Files Change in order to click the Review Changes, and then you might be tempted to say, hey, all right, and you submit review because there's these two green buttons here, and green and approval kind of go hand in hand culturally. But if you do that, if you click Review Changes and Submit Review, it will not approve the pull request. And this was a big gotcha when we first moved to GitHub. You have to check this little approve radial box here um, in order to actually approve it. So you click approve, and then you can submit your review, and now your pull request will be approved. So I think that process is a bit strange, especially if you just want to just come in here, check the code, say it's good, and approve. Thus, my improved PR approval UX is more streamlined, I would say. So from any tab, you can approve or deny, and approving and denying is one click. So you can just click this approve button from conversation or checks, and boom, the PR is approved. Perfect. Um, this might seem like a minor issue, but like when you're doing like 15, 20 PRs a week, it's like twice as much work. You have to go and click this drop down, you have to hit approve and click that, the extra submit review button. It's definitely, it adds impediments where in PRs you really don't want impediments. It's already hard enough to get people to look at and approve PRs. I think we just should remove any hurdles that we can. So I guess how did the communication go for this? I would say it's not ideal. I didn't really get as far as I wanted to. So initially I had a contact at GitHub. Well, I hadn't realized they'd actually moved on from their role at GitHub to another role in Microsoft. Um, when I did actually submit for this homework. So when I talked to them and they told me they'd moved on from that position, they pointed me towards the GitHub support as a way to get my changes in front of the developer's eyes. I did submit that support ticket, but then GitHub support suggested that I post in the GitHub feedback discussion board. So I took everything I knew and I wrote an extra concise message with some screenshots and sent it to them via that discussion board. And about a week later, I got a reply. It was one single sentence thanking me for my feedback and closing the ticket. Um, so that was very frustrating for me. And I decided I really wasn't satisfied with it. So I decided to reach out to another GitHub contact, the user who trained my team originally in GitHub. I sent them 2 messages and I didn't get any response. So I basically just, that was where I ran out of time and left it at that. So ultimately, I wasn't able to make much of an impact on the GitHub pull request and commenting user experience, but I did kind of really enjoy the process. I enjoyed taking something and trying to make it better in a UX experience. I think this class has made me realize there is a lot of bad UX out there, and I shouldn't be satisfied with existing with that UX when I can let people know it's bad and the vendor can, not in this case, but in some cases, make it better for you. I guess thank everybody. Thank you for your time today.